Where were you when Chip Kelly got fired?
I think I was just at a buddy's house.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I had the day off. It was like around the Christmas break. I was on vacation. And I remember driving in the car. I was actually in Millville. I had a meeting in Millville for something. And I was driving in the car, and I was listening to 97.3 ESPN when I heard Chip Kelly has been fired.
So it was reverse roles.
Who was hosting it? Were you hosting that day? Who were you hosting with?
I was by myself.
Oh, wow.
Solo.
I thought I remember. It was what, 20? Was Pete Thompson on with you that day? PT, were you here the day Chip Kelly got fired?
No, that was 2015, December 30th, 2015. So I probably was still in flux between Comcast Sportsnet and, trying to dip my toe in the 97.3 water and all that, moving back and forth. But no, I wasn't on with Josh. I remember that.
So it's really
now, when Chip,
yeah, go ahead.
When he got hired, though, I just wanted to say when Chip Kelly got hired, that is a memorable day for me because it was my birthday. And I remember waking up at like 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning to drive over to Apsagamie High School to try and catch another Kelly, Brian Kelly from Notre Dame, who was recruiting that kid, the quarterback at Apsagamie. And Brian Kelly gave me the world's worst stink eye ever. And I thought, oh, you're a D.I. blank blank, right? And you're a Richard, right? And then I went up and went to the press conference for what turned out to be another Richard. So maybe the Kelly people stay away. We don't want any more Kellys.
Well, give us your reaction yesterday, because when Chip Kelly got fired, I mean, it was still like a week left in the year, so it was a little surprising because of the timing, but it wasn't surprising because of what was going on. They were just absolutely leaking oil. They lost that Saturday night against Washington. They were eliminated, and then it was a similar thing. Like, Kelly basically was like, or Lurie basically was like, we're going to meet, and then boom, he was gone. Didn't even finish the season out.
Yeah, who was it? Pat Shurmur
took over, won that last game, and then they hired, Doug Pederson. But when you found out yesterday that Doug Pederson was not coming back, was it shocking? Was it surprising? Was it, I kind of figured that was going to happen after the reports that they were going to meet?
Right, that's the thing, is the reports that came out that he was going down to Florida to meet with Lurie again, and that maybe his job wasn't so secure, and then you started thinking, oh, well, this could be an interesting meeting. And I remember thinking to myself instantly, too, boy, I sure hope that we get some resolution Monday, like something actually happens, whether they come out with a vote of confidence for Doug Pederson or something. And so it was right about right when you guys started your show, 2:00, right, when it first got confirmed. And then I just, of course, I did what we do, which is you post something, you tweet something, you put something up on Facebook, and there's a ton of people that hate the move. There's a ton of people that understand the move, and then there's the number one reaction that I got from everybody, and I happen to agree, is, well, why didn't they fire Howie too? But, we don't need to go over that again. We know that Howie's obviously got secret pictures of Jeffrey Lurie in a compromising position or something like that. I mean, come on. How does Howie keep his job? And then the owner comes out tomorrow or yesterday and tries to defend him.
To be fair, there have been bosses who also thought you've done a good job. So I mean, it's
Wow, love that.
Yes, yeah, you protected me. I appreciate it. You're right. I'm a no talent hack, but thank you for letting me ride on your coattails.
That's great. Did you get that vibe that Doug was walking out of that Florida meeting, going to get ice cream to celebrate? Because there's no way he didn't walk out of there with just a big sigh of relief. There's just no way.
Yeah, look, Doug's not a moron, right? As much as we question his play calling a lot of times, and we get angry when he'd go for two and just kick the extra point and all these things, Doug is a smart enough individual to understand what was going to take place in that meeting and what hill he was willing to die on. And, I've seen the narrative, too, that, he basically cost himself his job because he wanted Press Taylor to be his offensive coordinator, right? Or don't, it kind of reminds me, and you're probably too young, Broads, but Gil will get this reference, don't worry, my dad's got this awesome set of tools. I can fix it. That's from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Well, Jeffrey Lurie wasn't buying that lemonade anymore. He's like, listen, your vision doesn't match my vision, and you're not going to budge, so we're just going to part ways. And Doug was like, all right, fine. Thanks for everything. Who knows how it went in the room. But, the bottom line is that Doug will get another job. I think it'll be another head coaching job. But there's some people out there that think it'll be a coordinator job. I don't agree with that. I think he'll get another head coaching job somewhere, and I think quickly. And when I heard you yesterday, Gail, say, like, is it going to be today? Is it going to be this week? I think it's going to be fairly quickly because, God, 3 years ago they won the Super Bowl.
Sal Powell was on with Greeny earlier, and the indication he said he got was he wasn't sure that Doug wanted to get right back into it.
Now, that's possible, and just think about, like, how unhappy Doug must have been this entire season. You're stripped of all your power. I mean, even before the season started, you're embarrassed in front of the media when you're told that you tell Mike Groh's coming back, and then all of a sudden, sorry, guys, actually, he's not coming back, right? I mean, all that Doug's done is been the loyal soldier and the loyal lieutenant, and then when push really comes to shove, and he wants, look, I want one thing here, and they're like, nope, sorry, you're out of here. You're going to be the guy that's leaving.
Now,
and so maybe that's enough to make him want to take a year off. Who knows?
You said something that Bros and I were kind of going back and forth on in the break there, which was he just won the Super Bowl. And it's like people, we've had these discussions over a drink at the bar. I'd win one Super Bowl and then I'd lose for 10 years to get that Super Bowl. Well, we found out you wouldn't lose for 1 year. It took one stinking losing year for people want everybody fired. So these people, I'd win the Super Bowl and I'd lose for 10 years. No, you wouldn't. You want change. So my point is, does Roseman or Pederson, do they get any credit? Does their resume sparkle at all because they just won a Super Bowl 3? Or is that just and we were going back and forth in this, Bros, and it was a good conversation. It's like, if you win the Super Bowl within a 5-year window, and then in 3 years, that's off your resume. Like, what can I strive to achieve to please anyone if building a roster that I'm not going to win the Super Bowl every single year, okay? So if your expectation is you need to build a roster that's going to win a Super Bowl every year, otherwise you're a failure. That's not happening. But if I built a roster that won the Super Bowl, and then I went after it again in 2018 and we fell short, and then we went after it again in 2019 and we fell short, what is the criteria to say this person has been a success at his job rather than he's a problem?
I mean, for me, my criteria is the fact that he made the playoffs in 2019, when guys go – that Doug has never lost the locker room, and he always seemed to have those December rallies. I mean, and the thing that stands out to me is, yes, he's 3 years removed from winning the Super Bowl, but the reality is that two of the three key people that were, two of the three big names that were behind that Super Bowl, two of them are on the Philly statue outside the stadium, and they're gone. Right. And now the only guy that remains is the one that everybody's so ticked about. I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't see that organizationally the Eagles have a talent evaluation problem. And the person that is the most blind to that is the owner of the team, who started off yesterday by saying 2, 3, 4, 5. 5? It's Philly, man. I don't want to wait 5 years to get some GD talent in here. I want talent tomorrow. Let's go.
Love it, PT. So my thought process on the whole Super Bowl thing is, Doug did not get this deserve to be fired, by the way. It wasn't necessarily for what he has done. It's the fact that they got a disconnect involved between both parties for how to fix things. So, the Super Bowl obviously has value, but it doesn't mean that's who you are forever. For example, Mike McCarthy won the Super Bowl, and I don't think people view him as this great, great, great coach. So if they don't look at Doug Pederson, if they look into the future and say, I don't know if that's really who you are moving forward, I think they have the right to make that change, even though they made the change because they don't think that the coaching staff is what was best for the franchise.
Well, and I did say McCarthy, he won that Super Bowl, and then I think had a long enough period of time afterwards to kind of say, okay, it wasn't 3 years.
Right, no, I agree. This is out there.
Yeah, McCarthy won the Super Bowl, and then it was I don't know, 8 years after that they finally said, okay, you won that Super Bowl, and he got 8. I don't know how many years it was. I'll have to look that up. But they won the Super Bowl. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
And
afterwards.
How many playoff runs?
1. They won the Super Bowl. Then they went to the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive years.
So that comes right back to this is, you talk, well, what is a playoff run? Is that even valid? No, it's clearly it's not. I mean, the guy went to 6 straight playoff runs. It's not enough. So I don't think it's ridiculous to not value playoff runs as much as some others would.
Well, I would say, and PT, McCarthy had a ton of success. They won a Super Bowl. They went to the playoffs 6 straight. They won 10, 15, 11, 8, 12, 10, and 10 games. And then they fell to 7 and 9, and then they fought at 7. I think he got fired more not because they thought he couldn't coach, but because he didn't get along with the most important player there. And that was the factor there.
Aaron Rodgers, which is also another thing. I talk about Press Taylor and Doug wanting to make some decisions and have his guys, but this, irrevocably broken relationship with Carson Wentz and that whole narrative, Doug is essentially the scapegoat. And by the way, bros, I don't feel like Doug should have been fired either. I thought they should have given him another year. But, when you sit there and look at the contract that Wentz has and Lurie's love of what he thinks Wentz can be, and he's the owner, then somebody has to go. And it ain't Howie and it ain't Wentz. So who goes? It's Pederson. And I look at it like this. Here's the other thing that jumps out at me, guys, is if you're the Eagles and you're trying to lure somebody in, to bring somebody in and say, this is a good job, you want to come in, everybody that's out there has to sit there and look at it and say, well, wait a second. They had Andy Reid forever, and he had good success, but then he had one bad year, and boom, they fired him. They had Chip Kelly, and he had success in his first 2 years, but then he slid a little bit in his third year, boom, they fired him. Doug Pederson made the playoffs last year, and he had, trust me, it's an abysmal year. And again, I always go back to that line in National Treasure where Harvey Keitel says to Nicolas Cage, somebody's got to go to jail, right? Somebody's got to pay, right? So Doug Pederson was the scapegoat. He had to pay for this, or he engineered his exit. Either way, he's gone. But then my biggest concern is who are you going to get to come in when they sit there and go, good Lord, Doug Pederson's a hell of a coach. He couldn't do anything with this team. Why the hell do I want to go there?
See, I'm not as concerned about the new guy. You used to have that whole feeling of hey, be careful what you wish for. I think, this job is an attractive job. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. There's 32 of them. There's so many quality. The last time around, when they hired Doug, I was not interested or excited about any of the candidates. There wasn't a guy that was that's the guy. There's 5 or 6 guys that I'm I'll take that guy. I like that guy. So maybe they just felt this is the right time to try to change the philosophy of the organization. Because you just said it, Pete. Something had to change. And just having Jim Schwartz step down wasn't going to suffice. Something had to be different about this team. Wentz isn't likely not going to be going anywhere. Lurie certainly not going anywhere. Roseman certainly not going anywhere. So if something drastic was going to change, it was going to have to be the coach. And I think they saw a situation. The Eagles said, there's a lot of good candidates right now. This might be a good time to we got to do something. We got to shake up the complexion of this team.
Right, but if they did keep Doug, and maybe it necessarily didn't have to be the head coach.
They weren't getting rid of Roseman.
No. I wasn't going that far. But
okay. I thought you were going to say,
no.
Maybe they kept Roseman.
No, if they clearly agreed on a coaching staff that would benefit both parties, I think Doug still would have been here. And would that have been a big enough change? Maybe getting in a real OC.
No, see, I think that's where Lurie realized, I can't bring back that. You saw the reaction when we tweeted out what Sal said about Press Taylor.
But that's what I'm saying.
I thought it was going to shut down the internet.
Jim Caldwell. I'm just hypothetically speaking, a guy who has experience, OC, been around. Would that be enough of a change of the offense where that would satisfy a big enough change?
It's a good question.
That to me, Jim Caldwell is offensive coordinator or Jim Caldwell is the head coach?
OC.
Offensive. If Pederson, because apparently one of the battles was Pederson wanted to elevate Press Taylor, and Lurie said that's not going to fly. So
right.
Broads is saying, what if Lurie said, you're the coach, but Jim Caldwell is going to be your offensive coordinator, and he's going to be the play caller. And Pederson essentially didn't want that.
And if you're Doug, that's the proverbial drawing of the line in the sand. And if you're Doug,
right, but Broads' question is,
at some point,
Broads' question was, would that have been sufficient enough for the fan base to say, okay, you made a change?
I think yes.
I think I'm going to say no, and that's what's funny about that is that the fan base feel like Doug, or a lot of the fan base doesn't feel like Doug deserved to be fired. I'm not going to say everybody, obviously, but a lot of the fan base feels like Howie was ahead of Doug on the who to blame list. But the flip side of that is I don't think anybody that they could have brought in was going to fix the relationship between Wentz and Pederson. And then the jury's still out on whether or not Hurts is a quality enough. I mean, I don't think any of us sitting here right now think that Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback. So then you sit there and think like, oh my God, there's a lot more problems on this team than just at the quarterback position. They got a lot of holes to fill. You know, I sure did like that national championship game last night, but anyhow, I'm getting off on a tangent. Please go ahead. It's your turn.
All right, Tuesday with Thompson. PT's here. So do you have a preference of coach? Like, is there a guy that – because we're doing our fives coming up. I made
my top five. You want my list? I'll go 5-1 for you. I made my top five, and I even did show prep and put in stats and reasons why I think they could be the guy and reasons why I don't think they could be the guy.
2021 really is a little odd.
PT just actually game planned and wrote things down.
We'll see what happens. Well, I tweeted out a tease with my five and put a picture of the guy that I like, and then PT saw it and said, well, if that's what they're going to talk about, I better be prepared.
That's correct. I can't be caught here with my proverbial pants down. So, all right, here's my five. If they go in the direction of Hurts, right, and if Wentz really is hell-bent on leaving, then Lincoln Riley has to be on your list. So he's my number 5, right? Lincoln Riley's 45-8, 3 appearances in the college football playoff, 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks, and, of course, him and Hurts. That's if they go that way. That would be why he's a great offensive mind. I think that would work, but the flip side of that is, would he jump? He just got an extension in Oklahoma. Are they scarred from the Chip Kelly experience and don't want to go to a college coach or a brilliant college mind before? So, I mean, that's a reason why they would and why they wouldn't. Eric Bieniemy's name that's my 4, right? And Eric Bieniemy, I mean, he's getting a lot of attention right now. The Chiefs, that fast break offense, Patrick Mahomes, everything that he's done out there. Plus, he's a minority. Let's not overlook that, right? The simplest reason, why would they hire him? Well, the last time they hired away an offensive coordinator from Andy Reid, they won the Super Bowl. Now, why wouldn't they? I mean, where do we start? They might have to outbid somebody. They might, they're not exactly the same, but that would be kind of, to the fan base, I think it would feel like deja vu, that movie. Brian Dable, the Bills offensive coordinator, and I keep going offense. In fact, let me look at my list here again. I don't know that I have a defensive guy on here. Nope, all 5 of them are offense, because I just think that's the way that Jeffrey Lurie looks at things first and foremost. I know he says it's going to be a committee and they're all going to talk about it, but really this is Jeffrey Lurie's decision. And he even tried to brag about how he's been through this before, so they're going to get the right guy. Okay, Jeffrey. Dable's only 45, and 2 words for him. I mean, his selling point is Josh Allen. He took the Bills, for God's sakes, into relevancy and an above-average offense. So, but can he repeat that long term? But he's on my list. He's number 3. 2 is the guy in-house, and I'm okay. If we got all the way through this and they hired Deuce Staley to be the head coach, I think my initial reaction would be like, ugh. But the reality of it is the guy's outlasted 3 head coaches, 3 different head coaches. He's a total company man. If you look at the job as something where, yes, Howie's really got the power and the control, then Deuce is maybe your guy. Plus, he has the respect of the players. He'd never lose the locker room, not that Doug did, but he wouldn't have divisiveness. You saw the Malcolm Jenkins tweet yesterday. That was strong to me. And then this is the one you're allowed to rip me on, Gil, but I'm sorry. I love Greg Roman, and I'd love to see Greg Roman be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. From Ventnor, born in Atlantic City, 48 years old, Holy Spirit, all the guy's done. And you know what? I even tried to think about, maybe he's only running quarterback, so that'd be if they went in Hurts' way because of Colin Kaepernick or Tyrod Taylor or Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty sure he was the offensive coordinator at Stanford, and Andrew Luck isn't winning the 40-yard dash anytime soon. So, I mean, he just is a dynamic offensive guy, So I'd love to see him be the head coach, but that's just me.
All right, there's PT's 5. Interesting list, solid list. What'd you think? There wasn't I thought Mike Keenan would be on that list.
I'm surprised That's good. I'm surprised there's no defense, though.
Why not Todd Bowles, Temple Tough?
Todd Bowles would be fine.
That's where I was going.
Right, Todd Bowles would be fine, any of the. I just think Lurie's going to lean on offense. I mean, he admittedly leans in that direction. and for better or worse, for richer or poorer, sickness and health, it's an offensive-driven league. Defense wins you championships. Defense is the reason that you ultimately win a football game, but, it's that old chicks dig the long ball commercial, or, the offense is what's sexy. It's a vertical league, right? So I just feel that's why I would be disingenuous if I put a defensive guy on my list.
Did you watch the football game on Nickelodeon?
I didn't watch the SpongeBob go up in the end zone. Like, I saw the highlights later. I watched it regular, but then I mean, social media was blowing up. So of course, how we watch things today, you have your phone in your hand, you're looking at the game, you're doing 5 things at once, and so I kept seeing all these tweets and social media about it. So then when I saw the highlights later, I saw that the SpongeBob went up between the goalposts, or the slime, the end zone got slimed and stuff. I mean, listen. If we could put Aqib Talib on a broadcast as a color guy and give me more Aqib, right? Give me more SpongeBob. I'm okay with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Doug Pederson news is definitely overtaking that great weekend of football we had, which makes sense, but there were some good games.
I don't even remember what happened.
Well, that Bills game was great. The Ravens and the Tennessee Titans was good. Lamar gets his first win. It was a lot.
But it can't overshadow, PT, the first puck drop of the year tomorrow.
Oh, I'm so excited. Did you guys see that they're going to have a sponsor on their helmets?
Yes, I did.
But did you see who the sponsor is?
I did not.
Well, I'll give you a hint. It's not Wawa. It's not Pat's or Geno's, right? The sponsor is like some investment company or something like that. I never heard of them. So tomorrow, when social media blows up with people asking what TCS is, it's Tata Consultancy Services, whatever the hell that is.
Well, I guess I'm used to it, because when you watch the World Juniors and all that, they all have logo. I mean, the NHL is like the last one to do this, so I guess I'm just kind of accustomed to it at this point.
Did you see Bettman put his foot in his mouth where he said, basically, we're lucky that we're having a season, or I could just as easily cancel the season? Like, dude, don't say that. Like, I know you're thinking it, but don't say that.
I did not, but I'm excited, Pete. Did you watch any of the orange and the white inter-squad scrimmage on NBC Sports Philadelphia the other day?
Absolutely.
Me too.
I did.
Yeah, me too.
I watched the heck out of it, and I thought it was hilarious because, here they are. They've been practicing the shootout, and again, like deja vu, they just kept going and going and going and going until finally, wasn't it Raffle? Was it Raffle that put it away?
It was.
Took a little half slapper and was like, all right, boys, let's end this bleep, and then he just had that look on his face where he was just laughing because, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be dynamic at shootouts, but good Lord, 9 rounds, just somebody put the puck in so the broadcast can end.
All right, Tuesday with Thompson. Of course, PT will be back for a happy hour Friday, and of course, he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. All right, Peter, have a good one.
All right, man, I'll be listening for your 5 coaches next. I'm looking forward to it.
Good tease. We got that coming up at 5:30 here on the Sports Bash. PT here on the Sports Bash.